guys and talk a little bit about identity. And when Dr. Outhouse asked me to do this and I signed on, I was thinking identity. You guys probably know what identity is. So I found something that was really interesting. Like if I asked you, what's your identity? I see a St. Louis cap on. I see head mostly. What is your like? What is your identity? Who are you? You know?
Tell me about. Okay. Like just, I'll give you like my name.
Yeah, like if I don't really know you, so just tell me a couple of things about how I would become familiar. Like I know you. You know what? Do you?
My name's Alex. I like sports, music.
Yeah.
I like wearing hats.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So how about you?
My name's Giovanni. I love to listen to music. I love sports. I love to do things hands-on.
Good. Caitlin.
My name's Galen. Like music, skating around with my friends,
Like making videos.
videos.
Yeah. Good. You're the producer.
I guess you could say that.
Good. How
My
about
name
you?
is Brian. I'm Hispanic, Latino. I am unemployed, and I go to Synergy High School.
So this is how like we identify ourselves, and you know, with the baseball caps, with the music, with the video. So I thought about this, and you guys would call me Dr. O. My full name's Ed Orzelak. You know, I live in Windsor. I have a couple of daughters in college. My wife, myself, we live in Windsor, and my two daughters go to college, and I'm a principal at Norris Elementary School. So that gives you a sense of my identity. But I thought of something when we're doing this is there's identity, and then there's identity branding. And I really found that interesting because originally I was just going to talk about identity and who we are and how we project that image. But it goes a little deeper now, and you guys may already be more familiar with this than I am. But identity branding suggests there's a way we really present ourselves in very calculated ways so that people really understand it. We use it to our advantage. And some of the ways, I wrote some of the things down here. Like, what is a brand? So you guys mentioned some things. So in sports, give me some ideas. Just throw some ideas. Like, are you familiar with brands in sports? I'll give you one. When you see a sports guy, right? I'm just going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it looks a logo that looks like this and then like that. Do you know what it is?
Armband?
What is it?
Armband.
No. It's. I'm going to draw it for you. It might look. I'm not doing it the right way.
Don't remember it.
Do you know what that is? What that brand would be?
Under Armour.
Under Armour, yeah. So they branded Under Armour. And where do you see that logo?
Sports stores.
Yeah. And usually you see it on the couch. I watched college sports this week in the football games.
Oh yeah, like
They all had it.
jerseys and
Sure. So they put it on the Alabamas, the Penn States, the Boston colleges, right? So when they're branding it, people look at that and they say, wow, Under Armour, that's pretty good. Boston College uses it. Must be pretty good. Now, I don't even know if Under Armour is good or not, but you associate, Under Armour with being good. You guys watch politics? I found this really interesting when I started fooling around with this okay, so Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton running for president, right? So have you been following Caitlin? Yeah. So Donald Trump, I'm not telling you who to vote for or anything or who you should like, but Donald Trump does this thing about identity branding for other people. And when he was going through the primaries, he was running against a guy named Jeb Bush. And he said, Jeb Bush, low energy Jeb Bush. And what happened was a lot of people started to say, wow, this guy Jeb Bush must have low energy. Then he started saying the liar, Ted Cruz, running against another guy. And interestingly enough, support for Ted Cruz started to go down because people just heard the words lying Ted Cruz and they thought the guy was a liar. Now, I don't know Ted Cruz. I don't know if he's the most honest guy that ever lived, but because somebody was calling him something, boom. And now he's up against Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary. He's calling him crooked Hillary. On the flip side of that, when he ever talks about himself, he uses words like, I'm brilliant. I'm the most powerful guy in the world. I'm the richest guy in the world. My buildings are fantastic. So what he does is he has a very positive brand and presents very negative brands. So the reason I bring that up is we can be influenced by brands. And now, how old are you guys? How old are you?
17,
18.
16.
Yeah. So you're in that age where pretty soon, you're going to be getting out of high school, making some plans to do something. And typically when you do that, you put together a resume, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we put that resume down. You want to brag about yourself. It's hard. Not if you're a guy like Donald Trump. He likes to brag about himself. And some people like to brag about themselves. Bragging about yourself is not a bad thing, especially when you have to go into the job market. When you put together a resume, you've got to brag about yourself because nobody else is going to. If the 5 of us are going for a job, I have to make sure that this gentleman who's going to employ us, I want to make sure he gets the message that I'm the right guy for the job. I don't care who else walked in before me, I'm your guy. I want the job, this is why. And I say all these great things about myself. Now, if we were in here, let's just flip the switch, we're in here. What would you guys think if you come in here to sit down, I shake hands, and I just tell you all these great things about myself? Is that cool? So we got to pick our spots, right? There's nothing worse than making that mistake of going in and being full of yourself. Now, it's not bad if everybody else says, hey, what a great guy he is. She says, great guy. All right, this guy, great guy. This guy, best guy in the world. That's a good thing. You want it. That's part of that identity branding we're talking about, where if you do things right and you market yourself and really pick your skill levels and define those skill levels and get better and better and better, that's what happens. So if you think about Under Armour, right? You give me another one in sports. Just give me another one where there would be a symbol or something that everybody recognizes as good. Nike. What do they typically show you? What do you see when? What do they have? What's that symbol they have?
Check.
The what?
Check.
That swish there or what? Yeah. Everybody sees that and they say, top notch. That's great. Michael Jordan. He had Nikes, right? When you associate with just the big guys, right? High performance. So I have to say this must be great. Clothing. You guys look sharp. How about a brand of clothing? Polo. Bingo. You put that little horse with the guy in a polo mallet right here. People will pay $50, $60 more for the shirt. It might be the same shirt. You put that little guy on there, they're gonna pay. And then when people see it, they don't say, gee, did you get that shirt at Costco and just saw the guy with the horse? Or did you think Costco's a good store? I don't want to knock Costco, that's great. But you know what I'm saying, because they see that symbol. They're not looking at the shirt, they're looking at the symbol. How about food? You guys, food? How about food? Pizza?
Yeah.
There's a distinction in pizzas, sure. What's a good pizza place?
Pizza Hut.
What was it?
Pizza Hut.
Okay, yeah. Because they're famous. They make commercials. They spend a lot of money promoting themselves. And they refine it even more. How about beverages?
Cool.
Big one. That's it. They've cornered the world. We were at, we did a thing over the summer at Norris. We had the NFL Play 60 program. So the NFL, this is an interesting thing. The NFL Play 60 program has been around for a while, but it really gained prominence over the past couple of years. You know all that trouble the NFL had with a lot of players who were having domestic problems and domestic violence, and they really started to push the family in NFL Play 60, so they went into schools. So we got involved in NFL Play 60. And essentially what they want you to do is linked with the New England Dairy Council. They want, because dairy, milk, healthy wellness, healthy eating is linked with the NFL Play 60. Get out and play at least 60 minutes a day. Get kids out moving, having fun. So as a result of that, we went after a grant, made a few dollars on the grant, and we bought blenders. We bought playground equipment for every classroom and bought these 2 industrial-sized blenders. And kids at our school, every Tuesday and Thursday, get smoothies for breakfast. Everybody gets a free breakfast and lunch, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we get everybody a smoothie. And that wants one. You don't have to have it. But so if you guys ever come over to visit, come on a Tuesday or Thursday, I guarantee you I'll get you guys a smoothie. So because of that, NFL Play 60 and the New England Dairy Council said, wow, these guys are pretty good. They took this idea and they've really done some good things with it because we can sustain that. You know, we own the blenders. It's just part of the food service. So that's going to continue on. So because of that, long story short, they invited myself and Joe Pierce, our phys ed guy, to the Gillette Stadium. And they gave us a behind the scenes tour. We went on with on-field access passes to watch the Saints and Patriots scrimmage. It was crazy. So there were a couple of things I noticed. Number one, I was absolutely amazed at how big those guys are close up. I mean, big. They're just huge. I can't imagine getting hit full force by somebody just charging at you, got the ball even, and they just knock you over. It's like, it must be like getting hit by a truck. So they have to be in the best shape of their lives to play the game. The second thing, and this you're going to find this interesting. Budweiser is another brand. So everybody knows beer. They do the commercials. Budweiser. On game day, there are 70,000 people at Gillette Stadium. They sell 350,000 beers. Did you know? At Gillette Stadium. It's amazing. Think of the branding there. And that's just Gillette. So think about across all the NFL. They do Bud Light. Coca-Cola is the same thing. They branded it as though that's the king of beers, you know, Coca-Cola, you know, the one, they put more life, you know, into your activities, drink Coca-Cola. So the branding is important. So when you think about it, can we set a brand for ourselves? Could you set a brand for yourself if you wanted to? How do you think you'd do it? Are you on social media? Okay, so my kids were on social media, and I just wanted to check up on them because they were doing pictures, and it was all legit and good stuff, but I just wanted to see what they're doing, who are their friends, what are they doing. So they hooked me up with Facebook. I'm completely lost with the technology. But one thing I noticed that people that do have Facebook pages, they have all kinds of graphics, all kinds of information, all kinds of wonderful things. Is that a way of branding themselves? It gives me an image, kind of an image of who they are when I see
Yeah, like what they put
their
up,
social
yeah.
media. Yeah. How about the way we dress? If you guys were going to, you like music, right? So you go to the Grammy Awards. Let's just say you go to the Grammy Awards. Do you think you would dress the same way if you were invited to go to the Grammy Awards? You would dress the same way? Okay, Caitlin, no, well, yeah, okay, Caitlin's being funny. Good one, Caitlin, you got me on that one. So Caitlin, why not? Why wouldn't you dress that way?
This way?
Yeah. I mean, you look very nice, very attractive. It's wonderful. You look like you're dressed for school, and you look terrific. But why wouldn't you dress that way for the Grammys? What's different?
Because Grammys are like super fancy, and I don't think they would like people wearing like just jeans and sneakers.
Yeah.
It depends like on the occasion.
Yeah, kind of. It depends on where you're going.
You stand out.
You stand out.
Mhm.
Yeah. And sometimes it's good to stand out, but it's just the same. The way you dress for the Grammys, so you would dress fancy, right? Would you dress the same way for the Grammys? The way you come to school? Same thing, you stand out, right? You come in with a nice, beautiful ball gown, your hair all made up, and everything's wonderful. People in school would go, "What's up with Caitlin? Where are you going? What did I miss it? What is it? What's going on today?" Gee, Dr. Rose coming to speak. Why did you guys? No, I'm kidding. You know. No, so it's kind of by the situation, and that takes some learning. I mean, that takes some experience. You think people make mistakes on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you think of a mistake they make? And now we're not talking about economics, because due to economics, some people, they dress up the best they can with what they have, and that's wonderful. That they're doing the best they can, they're showing the effort. But I'm talking about where they miss the mark. It's just not right, you know, it just doesn't work.
They stand above others.
The what?
Stand above others. I think.
Stand?
I don't know how to put it. I never.
No, you don't have to talk. Speak freely.
No, I mean, I don't know how to say it. I just don't know how to say it.
Okay, think about it.
Uh,
I'm trying to think of one that would be applicable for you guys. So, I'll tell you a funny one. My third cousin, I guess, on my wife's side, third cousin, he was working at a car dealership. And he was a young guy. He was in his probably 19 or 20. And he was a guy that would just be running around. So you guys are all the car dealers, and you need something, send this guy. Go get me some water. Go get the customer some coffee. Would you give me those brochures on the new trucks? And he'd run around and get this stuff. So they said Halloween was coming up, right? And they said, hey, look, Brendan, make sure you get dressed up for this, you know. This is important. We all go crazy for Halloween. They love it, and the boss loves it. So make sure you really get dressed up crazy for Halloween. So the day of Halloween comes up, he shows up for work. You walk into a car dealership, they've got their tie on, they got their sport coat. The secretaries look very attractive, and they're dressed up, and everybody's set. He comes walking in like a clown. It was like unbelievable. He walks in the door and he goes, What? He sees everybody up, and it was just a goof on the guy, you know. So we dress up for Halloween. Now that was a funny part. So he didn't miss the boat and do it on purpose, but kind of a cruel. It's a funny joke, but it's a cruel joke. That's crazy. So I'm trying to think of one that would be applicable for you guys. Maybe if you went to a football game, you know, when you dressed up for the prom or something, you know. I'll tell you what, sometimes they make a mistake, and here's a good thing. When you go to a Patriot Stadium, right, there are 99% of the seats are already sold out. They're season ticket holders, and you got to wait online. You wait on the waiting list for 7 to 10 years to get a seat. So that means you're waiting on, waiting. Someone either passes away or they're no longer interested, and the seats go up. And if you're on the list, you can buy the seats. So you buy the seats, and some of those, the box seats that you see the Robert Kraft and the Kraft family, those are $500,000 a year, and you have to make a 10-year commitment. So you have to put down $5 million for 10 years for the box seats. Now those seats are owned by Under Armour, Nike, Coca-Cola, Budweiser, the big companies that have $5 million like nothing. The seats that the people sit in are like $1,200 for the year. So for 2 seats, $2,400, which is a lot of money. And you have to pay that money up front. And you don't have to do it for 5 or 10 years, but you have to pay your money up front, $2,400, and you have your 10 seats for the game. And well, let's see, the season is 16, you have 8 games. That's a lot of money, $2,400 for 8 games. So now I mentioned, they sell a lot of beer at these things, so people could get crazy and start misbehaving. So I asked the guy, I said, how come they don't have more problems with people throwing snowballs and throwing cans? Because if people are drinking that amount of alcohol, they can lose their judgment and do wrong things and make bad choices. So he said, you get one chance. Let's just say I have 2 tickets and I have to go to a wedding. So I say, Caitlin, what was your first name?
Alex.
Alex. Hey, Caitlin, you and Alex did a great job at the thing. I can't go. My wife and I can't go to the Patriots game. You guys go to the Patriots game. And so you go to the game with my season tickets, right, that I waited 7 to 10 years to get. And when I've gone to the games, I root and I cheer for the team. I maybe boo the other team, but, it's all great. I have a good time, have a couple of hot dogs, and I behave myself. You guys, for some reason, go crazy and start throwing snowballs at the other team, and then you finish your hot dog and you take your paper and just throw it on the thing. They're going to take it and say, excuse me, come with me. You're out. They'll walk you right out of the park. You're done. They don't care how much your seats are. They walk you right out. You're done. If you're doing things that are worse, you'd get arrested. But let's just say you're just being terribly obnoxious, using profanity, just causing a big disturbance. They'll pick it, they'll walk. What happens next is I get a phone call. Now, I've waited 7 to 10 years to get these tickets. I get a phone call and they say, hey, Ed, you got one more chance. We had to remove people from your seats, and I know you guys would never do this, but if you did, I lose. If it ever happens again, and they don't care if it happens the next game or in 5 years, it's on the computer based on the record. If there's ever another problem with my seats, I'm done. My seats are gone, and they go back on the list for somebody else to get my seats. So that's why people tell them, look, if you use my seats, you guys got to behave. No fooling around. That's why everybody behaves at the Patriots games. You could go to some, and you hear at some stadiums, let's just say it's Philadelphia. Go to Philadelphia and you're wearing your Patriots jersey, there's a chance somebody might throw a beer at you. They might throw snowballs at you. I don't think they have the same rules, because you see these pictures in the paper all the time. I'm not casting dispersions on the Philadelphia fans or the Pittsburgh fans, but you see those pictures in the paper and you say, how do they control that? Why don't they control it? It doesn't happen in the Patriots games. And if it does, boom, it takes swift action. So I guess my point is, you could go to a football game in another city, you could be visiting relatives or something, wear your Patriots jersey, and that might be the most inappropriate way to dress in the world because you're just asking for it, It's crazy. My kid brother was drafted by the Yankees in 1982. He was playing for this community college in Worcester, Massachusetts, Quinsigamond Community College. The year before he got drafted, they won the Junior College World Series. So he was a great pitcher in high school. He was 6'2", he was throwing 90 miles an hour in high school. So he's pitching for Quinsigamond, got drafted by the Yankees. He's got a telegram that says, from George Steinbrenner, welcome to the Yankees family. We look forward to having you on the team. They sent him to South Carolina, AAA or even quadruple A, to pitch, and he tore his rotator cuff. So that was the end of it. But now they could do surgery, but that was the end of it. He couldn't pitch anymore, never pitched again. But he still loves the Yankees because he feels an affinity, like he feels like a Yankee member. Well, he went to the Red Sox game once, and he dressed up like, with his buddies, he dressed up like Mr. Yankee. He had a Yankee hat on, he had a Yankee cape, he had a Yankee shirt, and he goes in there like Mr. Yankee, walking right into the place. He got two paper cups of beer thrown on him right off the bat. Boom. So he just kind of fought through it. There were good fans that said, hey, don't do that, that's stupid, don't do that. So he made it through the game and everything all right. That's an example where he could have made better choices about how to dress and his identity. But for him, part of his identity is he's a Yankee fan. He's proud of that. Being drafted by the Yankees, he's proud. So that's just my take on identity. Well, what do you think you can do with that? On identity? Can you guys do with anything with that? Building your identity? Do you think it's important to build an identity? What do you guys think? Does it mean anything? What do you think, Caitlin? Is it important to you? Like, I think you're a very responsible student. I'm gonna give you my honest, and I've only known you 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes now. Is that clock right? No,
No,
it's
no.
20 to 5. What the heck? That can't be. That would be a long meeting, longest speaker series in history. But I think you're a very nice student. I think you're very responsible. I think it's wonderful that they give you the responsibility of videotaping the series. So all those good things. Is that important to you? Does that feel good when someone says those things? Sure. Yeah. So our identity is important to us. It's something that we should, hold fast to and protect. I guess that's key. You see identity theft all the time on TV. They steal your credit card, they steal your bank.
Yeah.
Identity theft is important, but identity branding and how we set ourselves up and what people think of us, that's important. And I think, I'll just end with a couple of thoughts. I think it's very important because it is important what your teachers think of you. Because, number one, you are building a sense of responsibility, an aura of responsibility. All of you guys are very responsible. I can see the way we've been interacting here. At some point, you may have to ask those teachers or administrators for a letter of recommendation because you want to go to college or you want to go into the service or you want a job. And it's very important to cultivate those relationships. And it's very important for your family. I know your family, and they're very proud of you. I'm sure they're very proud of you because you're working hard and you're a responsible guy. I know your grandma because she was very proud of the guys when I was working with Leroy and Julio. Great guys. And it's funny. Those guys were always very respectful to me. So later on, after they had graduated, long time afterwards, they were adults, they had their families. I ran into Julio at Bradley Airport.
Yeah,
He was working at Bradley Airport. And we just struck up a conversation, and I was very happy for him. I told him, I said, it was great that he was working for TSA. So those things follow you. So what you're doing now to brand yourself, to develop that identity, to protect that identity, to honor that identity is very important. So I hope I gave you a couple of things to think about and a couple of things that you can hang your hat on that you plan for the future to develop because it'll help you.